What's up, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and Tim Pool involved in a lawsuit with the New York Times, at least named and defamed by the New York Times, as well as my staff, Hannah Claire Brimlaw. Many of you may not know, but I do a live stream every day at 2 Eastern over on the Mean Green website or on Quartercast or Quartering Live here on YouTube, which I'll leave linked in the description. We actually have a Pentagon reporter, Hannah Claire Brimlow, who has been at the Pentagon the last 3 days. She returns today to the live show, so maybe you want to tune in or tune in tomorrow or watch it later, because we're going to get lots of funny stories and interactions and stuff from the Pentagon. But this hissy fit by the New York Times is amazing to me. The whole thing is bonkers, and it's right out of the clown world. And we're going to get into that after a super quick word from Private Internet Access, this video's sponsor. Shout out to this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, if you aren't using a VPN yet, you're completely missing out. And Private Internet Access is the one I use on all of my devices. If you've been following the news, you see that censorship, websites, apps are getting shut down in certain countries, all sorts of craziness. Well, a VPN helps you never have to worry about that. Private Internet Access also protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, internet service providers, and others that can view your personal data. Perhaps also just as importantly, Private Internet Access allows you to access region-restricted content from all over the world. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and more have different library options based on where you're located, and some shows simply cannot be accessed if you're not in the target location. Happens to me all the time. Many sports events also have regional blackouts. Well, VPNs can be a convenient way to make sure you're getting the content that you're paying for. Private Internet Access also allows you to protect an unlimited amount of devices all at the same time, so your entire household with a single subscription. And I've been working with Private Internet Access so long that I have an absolutely massive discount available to my viewers. Link in the description below. Get Private Internet Access today using my link. Save huge, protect your computers, access all the content that you've been paying for, and ensure that your internet is... So I saw this tweet this morning. I didn't know that there was any context at all about it, but from Tim, he says, F you, New York Times, talking ish like a bee. I never said, quote, we wouldn't report critically on the Pentagon. I literally said we give up our press passes in order to report critically, you lying scumbags. So the New York Times implied in this lawsuit that Tim Pool is a liar and he would be, purposely lying about his reporting at the Pentagon. He says, they know I said that I'd give up our press passes to report critical information and omitted it anyway because they are lying scumbag activists wearing the New York Times like a skin suit. Also involved in this lawsuit, Brianna Morello, friend of the show. She's been on before. The New York Times reached out to me prior to filing their lawsuit against the Pentagon. The New York Times outlines several, quote, mega journalists, but completely fails to acknowledge this email I sent their journalists in October. I explained that I've released several critical reports for the Pentagon, but was still granted credentials anyway. This is something that did not happen under previous leadership. Here's an example, an email to Eric Wimple. My background is I'm an award-winning independent journalist, previously worked for Fox, Newsmax, local Florida news outlets, ESPN Plus, and MLB Advanced Media. My career started by covering sports, crime, and since has transformed into a diverse group of topics. As an independent journalist, I adapt to evolving news cycles. Corporate media outlets still retain access to the Pentagon so they can join press briefings remotely or obtain visitor passes. Over the past 3 years, I built my career without entry to any federal buildings. When the Biden administration excluded independent journalists from these briefings and denied us even remote access, no one advocated on our behalf. I developed my reporting by cultivating trust with sources and rigorously verifying tips. The agreement is equitable, and I appreciate the Pentagon's position, but this does not violate the First Amendment. Revoking credentials over a disliked story would constitute an infringement. As evidence of my commitment, I'm currently suing the TSA and the VA for denying Freedom of Information Act requests that impede my access to information. I am unwavering in defending First Amendment rights. It depends on circumstances. Since I run my own operation and I'm often in DC, meeting the requirement will not be an issue for me. Follow me on X. Unlike many corporate media reporters, I have openly critiqued the Pentagon in my work. I'm grateful they granted me access anyway, rather than limiting it to, quote, MAGA-aligned voices, despite my prior criticism on Qatar and Pete Hegseth's staffing issues. So, again, they have, in fact, brought in a diverse group of people. I mean, Hannah Claire Brimlow works for us at Quartercast. She has access. She was there Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday this week. She's completely unbiased and has also been critical of the Pentagon. It says in their report, the new PFAC recipients, this is part of their lawsuit, include the National Pulse, which is described by its editor-in-chief as an industry magazine or website for the MAGA world, Laura Loomer, an influential pro-Trump activist, and former Congressman Matt Gaetz, President Trump's one-time choice for Attorney General, who's now affiliated with OAN. Many have expressed ideological support for the Trump administration or indicated that they do not intend to report critically on the Pentagon. This is the part that Tim's talking about. Tim has never indicated that. I don't know if Matt Gaetz has, but I doubt he has either. I'm sure Laura Loomer hasn't. This is defamation, certainly. For example, Libby Emmons, editor-in-chief of Human Events and the Post-Millennial, who requested 4 passes for her staff after receiving an unsolicited invitation, stated that there should be a place for reporting on what they are doing without trying to always expose the dark underbelly. Well, that could mean a lot of things. And Tim Pool, who's, I don't know what they say about Tim there, similarly in determining when solicitation of unapproved information is permissible, the department has already drawn distinctions based on favored/disfavored content speakers. Again, in her post announcing that Loomer is now credentialed outlet at the Pentagon, Loomer stated that I have developed a Rolodex of sources that if you have any tips, feel free to contact us. The most influential tip line in all of DC. What's wrong with that? Now, asked whether Loomer's request for tips violates a new press policy, the department responded that it did not. Though a statement attributable to Wilson, the department stated that it may be. You know, in another, so essentially they're whining that James O'Keefe, that new media is in the room. Now, are some of these people, you know, more Trump friendly than others? Yes. But the idea that that media room wasn't completely full of left-wing hacks for the past 20 years is bonkers. Bonkers. Of course that meeting room was full of leftist shills. Are you joking? No, seriously, are you joking? Are you going to sit there and say that CNN's Jim Acosta was unbiased? I mean, look at the right. Are we going to say that Peter Doocy's unbiased? He works for Fox News. Are we going to say that all these MSNBC people that work there, that they're unbiased? No. Everyone has some level of bias, but only now, when the New York Times gets cut out, they're worried about it. The New York Times is, of course, a biased organization as well. In the suit filed in the U.S. District Court, I wonder if they actually linked the suit here. Let's see. Ooh, they did. All right, let's look for the Tim Pool thing. That's what I'm more interested in. And see if they mention Hannah Claire. That'd be cool. So here's the suit. Let's see the part where, oh my gosh, how many? 97 pages. Please, oh please, let me search this. Search Pool. Here we go. And Tim Pool, who disclosed that his outlet would be getting credentials, explained that he is, quote, not an investigative news organization, and he did not intend to maintain a significant presence at the Pentagon. So what? As far as I know, that dork Elad, who hates me for no reason whatsoever, probably because I'm so beautiful, he was there all 3 days this week. I know that. Hannah Claire Brimlow was there all days this week. You know, this is not a First Amendment issue. They're just butthurt that they aren't allowed to be there. The complaint sought a court order halting enforcement of the rules and a declaration that provisions targeting the exercise of First Amendment rights were unlawful. The Times has retained Theodore J. Boutros, a First Amendment lawyer who has argued major media access cases in federal court. Julie E. Barnes, a Pentagon reporter for The Times, is listed as a plaintiff alongside the company. This is much ado about literally nothing. I don't know how popular these, Pentagon briefings are going to be, but I sure am glad that we have somebody on staff who's going to be able to be on site in a moment's notice. By the way, if you made it this far, I wanted to double check. If you look up, I think it's quartering. I get it mixed up. If it's quartering live or quartercast. If you are a YouTube only viewer, okay, go follow Quartering Live. We're live every day, so we will have live hits from the Pentagon, when we can. Working out the tech issues today, but it's bonkers that they're, willing to defame all these people when at the end of the day, they're really just butthurt. And I couldn't be happier about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you have yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.